Hi everyone. Today we let us know the some Databricks certified data engineering associate part 2 questions. So here the first question is a data engineering team needs a data engineering team needs a query a delta table to extract rows that all meet the same condition. However, the team has noticed the query is running slowly. The team has already tuned the size of the data files. Upon the investigation, the team has concluded that rows are meeting the condition are sparsely located throughout each of the data files. Based on this scenario, which of the following optimization technique could be speed up the requiry? So, based on this scenario, the question is what is the main problem here? So here the main problem is the data files are not helping the query performance because the relevant rows are spread out across many files. So as a result, the engine must scan a lot of unnecessary data to find matching rows. So the main goal here is to speed up the query by clustering similar rows together so that only relevant portion of the files are scanned. So here the given options are data skipping, G-ordering, bin packing, right, as a pocket file, tuning the file size. So according to this query, based on this scenario, the correct answer we can choose G-ordering. So what it is means, it is a technique in Delta Lake that co-locates related information in the same set of files based on one or more columns. So this means rows with similar values in the filter columns are grouped together physically on this disk. So why it helps means, so since the relevant rows are no longer spread out, the query can skip irrelevant data blocks, reducing the amount of data read, perfect the queries, the filter on a column where the values are sparsely located. So based on this scenario, the correct answer is G ordering. So why not this data skipping means, it automatically records min or maximum statistics for columns in each file. So it will filter values outside the range of file. So coming to bin packing, bin packing means it combines small files into larger ones. It improves read-write performance in general. So why write a pocket file means, it writes the data in a standard pocket format only. So tuning the file size means adjusting the size of individual data files to optimal range. So based on this scenario, the correct answer is G ordering. So let us move to the next question. So a data engineer needs to create a database called customer 360 at the location customer 360. The data engineer is unsure if one of the colleagues has already created the database. Which of the following commands should data engineer run to complete this task? So here the question they have given means data engineer needs to create a database called customer 360 table name, that is at the location where the location customer 360. So it is if the database already exists. So main goal of this question is create the database. If it does not already exist, specify the location as customer 360 where the database should be stored. So avoid failure if the database already created. So if the database already created means we should avoid the failure. So they have given some options: create database 360, customer 360, location customer 360. Create database if not exit customer 360. See, create a database if not exists customer 360, location customer 360. Create a database if not exists customer 360, delta location customer 360. Create a database customer 360, delta location customer 360. So here the step-by-step explanation I can give. The correct answer will goes to create a database if not exists customer 360 location customer 360. It means we should create a database. This is a standard SQL DDL command used to create a database in systems like Databricks SQL or Spark SQL. If not exists means this is the condition prevents error if the database already exists. Without it, the command would fail if someone had already created it. So here it is the location, customer, customer 360. This it is tells the engine to store the database metadata and manage tables at a specific storage path like cloud location or a file system. So the answer is C. Option C is the correct answer. Why this A is not missing? If it not exit is not specify here. So it is an unknown existence. Option B. Coming to this, the location specified so database will be created in the default location. So it is not correct. Coming to D, here the delta is not a valid syntax in this content. Coming to E, missing here if not exit. Delta is again not valid here. So finally the correct option is C. Coming to next question. A junior data engineer needs to create a Spark SQL table by table for which Spark manages both the data and the metadata. The metadata and the data should also be stored in the Databricks file system. Which of the following commands should a senior data engineer share with the junior data engineer to complete the task? So here they have given a table, create my table, and ID string, value string using org, Apache, Spark, SQL packet option, path, storage path. So create, manage, table, my table, and they have given some values using org, Apache, Spark, SQL packet option with parameters. Option C, create, manage table, table name, and they have given some parameters. Create table, table name, and given by some followed by parameters using dbfs. Create a table, table name, and following some values. So main the question here is junior data engineer needs to create a Spark table named by my table. So where Spark should manage both the data and metadata. So this is called a managed table. Both metadata and data should be stored in DBFS, that means Databricks file system. Here the question summary. So what is the main goal of this? So the main goal is to create a managed table. So that is called internal table using Spark SQL. So where Spark controls the location of data and metadata. So the data is stored in DBFS. That means by default storage system in the Databricks. So coming to this main goal, that we can choose the correct answer is create table, table name as my table, and then followed by a parameters values like id string, value string. So what is this managed table means in Spark? When we use just to create table without specifying location or option path, Spark will store the table's data and metadata internally. The data goes to the default warehouse location, which is on DBFS in Databricks. That's why this is what's called a managed table. So based on this question, the correct answer we goes to create a table, my table, ID string, value string. So why these A, B, C, D options are not means? So here they have created table, my table using a path, some org, Apache, Spark, SQL pack. This is the path they have. So this creates an external table. Spark will use the given path, not a managed data location. Next, coming to option B, it is an invalid syntax. So create managed table. The table is not valid command in Spark SQL. Next option C, create managed table, table name. Again here create managed table is not a valid syntax. Option D, create table, table name. So here they have used DBFS. There is no such format as a using DBFS. So DBFS is a storage layer, not a file format. Coming to next question, question 4. So here the question is a data engineer wants to create a relational object by pulling a data from two tables. The relational object must be used by another data engineer in other section. In order to save a storage cost, The data engineer wants to avoid copying and storing physical data. Which of the following relational objects should the data engineer create? So here they have given some option like view, temporary view, delta table, database, Spark SQL table. So coming to what is the this question summary? What the data engineering wants means create a relational object from two existing tables that we can use join or union operation. So make this object available to other engineering across different sections. Avoid copying, storing physical data wants to say storage. The main goal of this question is combine data from two tables, make it persistent, avoid physical storing view, new data. So no extra storage cost. So coming to this question, the correct answer is view. Why view means it is a logically object, not a physical. It stores only the query logic, not the data. When query, it pulls data live from the source table is persistent, meaning it can be used across multiple sections by multiple users. So no data duplication. Save storage also here. Coming to what this temporary view means, it is the only current Spark section automatically discarded when the section ends. So does not store data physically. Coming to delta table, it is a physically table with the data stored in delta lake format. Coming to database, it is a namespace or a container for tables and views. Coming to Spark SQL table, typically refers to the physical table unless explicitly defined as a view. So coming to this, the view has persistent storage used, shared across the section, logical or physically. So these usages are the available in the view. So the correct answer is view. Next question. A data engineer wants to create a data entity from a couple of tables. The data entity must be used by another data engineers in other sections. It also must be saved to a physical location. So which of the following data entities should be the data engineer create? So here the options database, function, view, temporary, table. So what is the main question here means? So create a data entity using a couple of tables. We can use aggregation, join or union. So data entity must be used by other data engineering sections also. So it needs to be persistent. It must be saved to physical location. So it must store actual data, not a logic. So the main concept of this question is create a persistently physically stored data entity built from exiting table shared across the sections. So coming to this question, the correct answer is table. So in the table, in Spark or a Databricks, it is a persistent data entity, stores actual data at a physical location. So usually DBFS or cloud storage. It can be queried by other users and sections. Can be created using a select from other tables. So meeting all these three criteria, it means it has a persistently shared, physically stored. So the correct answer is table. Coming to this database means it is a container namespace for tables and views. Coming to function, it is a reusable logic. So it not stored or represent the data. Coming to view, it stores in a SQL query, not a physical data. Temporary view means it is a section scoped logic object. So coming based on these options, the correct option will be a table. That means it has a persistent stores data and share the sections to others. Next question. A data engineer is overwriting a data in a table by deleting the table and recreating the table. Another data engineer suggests that this inefficient and the table should simply be overwritten instead. Which of the following reasons of the overwrite the table instead of deleting and recreating the table is incorrect? not correct, incorrect. So we should find out the incorrect statement by giving by below the options. So the options of the question is overwriting a table is efficient because no files need to be deleted. Overwriting a table result in a clean table history for logging and audit purpose. Overwriting a table maintains the old version of the table for time travel. Overwriting a table in atomic operation and will not leave the table in unfinished state. Overwriting a table allows for concurrent queries to be completed while in progress. So, the main question of this goal is to justify the incorrect option for using override. So, example, insert override, save mode override, or write override in delta like. The main summary of the question is data engineer deletes and recreates a table to override data. Another engineer recommends using the override method instead. So based on these two scenarios, which of the following reason is favor override is incorrect? Coming to options here, override a table result in a clean table history for logging and audit purpose. So this is the incorrect reason. Why this is not A, C, D, E means coming to this option A, overwriting a table is efficient because no files need to be deleted. So this is true in delta lake. So it is a correct reason for to prefer overwrite. It can to correct the scenario. It is the correct reason to prefer overwrite. Coming to option C, overwriting table maintains the old version of the table for time travel. It is also strong prefer to overwrite. Option D, overwriting a table in atomic operation and will not leave the table in an unfinished statement. So no risk of partial writes or corruption. So it is also correct for overwrite the question. Option A, overwriting a table allows for concurrent inquiries to be complete while in progress. It is also correct version to override. So coming to option B, this is the incorrect. Delta lakes retain a history of all operations, including overrides. You can time travel to previous version and audit change. Overwriting does not reset or clean the table's history. In fact, it adds to the history log. So this is the incorrect reason in the list. Coming to next question. Which of the following commands will return records from an exiting delta table, my table, where duplicates have been removed? So here are the some options. The main command should use read from delta table, remove duplicates in the result. This is the summary of the question. So the main answer should be we choose from the given option. The correct answer is select distinct from my table from my table. So why this C is the correct answer means this is the correct and standard SQL approach. It returns only unique rows from the tables. Duplicate rows are automatically removed in the result. It does not modify the table, just filter the results. Coming to option A, drop duplicate from my table. So it is an invalid syntax in SQL. Coming to select from my table where duplicate equal to false. So assume there is a column named duplicate which likely does not exist. Coming to option D, merge into my table using new records B. This is an incomplete and invalid merge command. We have used merge. It is the invalid. Option E, merge into my table using a new records B on A.id equal to B.id. When not matched, then insert. So this command tries to insert a new records where no match is found. So it modifies the table, not what the question has asked. So coming to option C, select distinct from my table is the correct answer. Next question. A data engineer wants to horizontally combine two tables as a part of query. They want to use the shared column as a key column, and they only want the query result to contain rows whose value is in the key column is present in both the tables. Which of the following SQL commands can they use to accomplish this task? Here the question has given the main summary of the question is the data engineer wants to horizontal combine two tables. This means joining columns side by side. Use the shared key column. Only include rows where the keys exist in both the tables. The main goal is join two tables side by side. Use the key column as a join condition. Return only matching records from both the tables. So this is the definition of an inner join. So here the based on this scenario only the option we can choose. So the given options are inner join, outer join, left join, merge, union. By using this question, we have joined two tables, key column, return only matching record from both tables. So this is the concept of the question. By this concept, we can identify the answer is inner join only. So why inner join is correct? And it returns only rows that have matching values in both tables based on the key column. It is a horizontal combination. It adds columns from both the tables to result. Outer join means it returns all from both tables including unmatched also. Left join. Return all rows from left table and matching rows from right table also. Merge. It is used for upsets. Upsets means update plus insert in tables, often in delta lake. Union. It is vertical combination stacks from both the tables. It does not require a join key. So based on this, the main goal is join horizontal, only matching rows we want. So these join horizontal and matching rows are we can see in the inner join only. So the correct answer is inner join. The option. Next question. A junior data engineer has ingested a JSON file into a raw table with the following schema like cart ID string, items array, item ID string. The junior data engineer would like to insert the items column in the raw table to result in a table with the following schema cart ID string cart ID string, item ID string. Which of the following commands should the junior data engineer run to complete this task? So they have given some concept like JSON file has been ingested into a delta lake table name raw table with the schema. They have given some schema. The goal is to uncertain the items array so that each item in array becomes a separate row with the resulting schema. So here the cart ID, items, cart ID, item ID they have given. So the correct option will be a option D. Select cart ID, explode items as item ID from raw table. So explode array column by array column. Take an array and create one row for each column in that array. So this is the standard way to insert arrays in Spark SQL. So why this A, B, C, E or not means select cart ID, filter item as item from raw table. Filter in Spark SQL returns a subset. So it returns, filter means it returns subset. So here we have is a flatten. Flatten is used for arrays of arrays. Reduce. Reduce means it take array and aggregates into single value. Slice retains a part of the array. So here the question we want means one row per array element. It means converts array elements into row. We want the arrays into row. So it is used by explode only. The explode will only the option It converts the array elements into row. So the correct answer is select cart ID, explode ID as item name, ID from raw table. Next question. Data engineering has ingested a JSON file into a table, raw table with the following schema. So transaction ID string, payload array, and date timestamp, store ID string format. The data engineer wants to efficiently extract the date of each transaction into a table with the following schema. So they have given some schema. So here, which of the following commands should the data engineer run to complete this task? Here they have given some option A, B, C, D. So by seeing these options, we have to use the correct answer. So they have the question summary is the JSON file has been ingested into a table like a table name, raw table with the schema like transaction ID, string, payload, array with some parameters. So the question it has the main goal is to create a new table with the schema. Extract data from each element of the array payload, produce one row per item in the array, retain the transaction ID and associated date for each payload entry. So this means we need to unnest or explore the payload array and access the date field from each struct inside. So coming to this, the correct answer is selection, transaction ID, payload, date from raw table. So here we have some valid syntax. What means option A? Option A here it can't handle array of structs. It can't handle extract date correctly. So coming this option A, it is wrong. Coming to option B, it has a handle of array of structs. It can extract correct date correctly also. So the option B, select transaction ID, payload data from raw table. So these are the most important questions which are asked in the Databricks certification mostly repeatedly. Stay tuned. Uh, I will upload some more questions in next video. Thank you.